I'm Brandon,
And I'm Brandon.
and welcome back to Apollo City Comics, or anything and everything comic book podcast. Dude, we are here again, and I feel like we always make plans on the show, and we were all hyped about all these comics that we were going to read and go over, and we were making a little bit of progress. And every single time we do that, a bunch of stuff happens, and then we meet a bunch of people, and then we're like, oh fuck, we need to get you on the show and talk and hang out. And that's what happened again this week. We were gonna bring, I don't even remember what we were gonna read, but it all got
uh,
scrapped.
we were gonna read. No, we were gonna take a break from Miracle Man and watch 2 episodes of Batman the Animated
That's
Series. That's what we
right.
were gonna do because
Yeah.
we weren't gonna get burnt out on Miracle Man. So we're like, we're just gonna take an easy break,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was the plan.
And then we were gonna even talk about some of, like, maybe a Batman storyline for the Grant Morrison stuff, just for fun. You know what I mean? It's like, again, we cover Batman so rarely on the show. I feel like when we do choose a Bat book, it has to be
Doesn't
like a
matter.
monumental. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a key thing at that point.
I think one of the first ones I said we got to do is Noel.
And I think that was the first one we did. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we've done one like before or after that. So, but I mean, hey, this week we have a very interesting and exciting, and it's just, I'm pretty hyped to talk to this guy and get this cool conversation going because the pre-show chatter was pretty fun. But why don't you snuggle up with that cup of coffee you probably got from coffeeandacomic.com. Dude, Frank has been hooking it up with all the cool, like, indie books lately. He has a nice selection. There's a bunch of new stuff coming in right now. And guess what? It's all bagged and boarded and comes with coffee in your order. When you just pay for shipping and you get a 15% discount code below, like, why are you buying comics from anywhere else when all you have to do is check your mailbox and get this pristine package full of beautiful stickers and coffee and, like, dude, bagged and boarded books ready to, like, if you're running to work and you just need a book, you don't got to worry about bagging and boarding. Nobody wants to bag and board stuff. That should be a slogan. Just coffee and a comic.
Oh,
Nobody wants to bag and board. Like, utilize that coffee energy into reading your comics and not putting the work into them. But man, we have also a bunch of new announcements coming out pretty soon that we can't just talk about, but we're going to be broadcasting a lot of stuff coming out in the next couple weeks. Drink and draw with Dan, not drink and draw anymore. I need to get over saying drink and draw with Danny, because it's no longer drink and draw. Drawing shit with Brandon and Danny is coming like, out again as well. So keep an eye out for our live videos and on YouTube. And dude, we're gonna roll into this weird, I mean, man, I can't even just describe it, but Exodus Z issue 1 is live on Kickstarter right now, and we have Jorge Alvarez, the creator and writer, with us to talk about the book and so many other things. I'm hyped. Jorge, welcome. Hi, how are you?
welcome.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be here. Glad I'm able to chit chat with you guys for a bit.
Dude, I'm super excited. It's one of those things where, we typically, like, out of just pure coincidence and out of our network and whatnot, we interview a lot of creators that are within, like, the lesser known comics community and whatnot. And it's kind of like good that we're trying to branch out and find all these other Kickstarters that are running. And I came across yours when I was just kind of going through stories and going through indie creator stuff. The indie network online is just so big. And once you meet one person and another person, it all kind of connects, and then you start recognizing people, and then you're like, oh, they're friends with somebody I don't know. Who's that? I should probably be friends with them if they're supporting them. And I came across your Kickstarter, backed your book for a little tier and whatnot. Got the cool digital downloads for it. But tell us about this book. Tell us where Exodus Z came from.
Okay, so first about the book itself. Exodus Z issue 1 is a 24-page zombie story of biblical proportions. You're basically following the final exodus, the final set of people trying to be saved, kind of like the rapture in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shoots you into the action, following two characters, Thomas and Angela. And they're trying to make it to the Church of Grace. That's the name of the church. And the preacher is already starting the ceremony. He's trying to save his parishioners from the zombie apocalypse, but chaos always finds a way. And we soon discover that not even heaven is safe. So now we have this weird, crazy zombie apocalypse finding itself at the gates of heaven, and it just starts wreaking havoc. No humans, archangels, seraphims, and eventually even demons are going to be safe from this. It's going to be the destruction of all planes, and we only know one thing that's for certain, that zombies are not picky where they eat.
Damn, that's so fucking cool. See, that's
Yeah.
like that's sick. I'm sorry, that premise in general, once I got to that part, like in the preview book, I was like, what? This is happening really fast. This is oh fuck, this is where we're at. Okay. All right, I gotta
Yeah.
In
find out what
the
happens.
in the Kickstarter
Mhm.
preview, doesn't it also talk about like the gates of heaven not being safe as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's basically, think of the movie This Is the End. Um, all those actors that get beamed up, but half of
Mm,
them stay, and then they shit out of luck, they get stuck there. But it's kind of like that sense that you're not technically that spirit of a proper death. You just get beamed up and you land. Let's just leave it like a platform,
mm,
that leads to a bridge. The bridge leads to the gates, and then you have heaven. But from that platform reaching the gates, a lot of crap happens already. Like we made sure that people understands that this is not how's the best way I could say it? It's not going to be a slow build that it's going to be 8 issues just to reach a certain part,
mm-hmm.
or it's going to be a repetitive thing. It's like, no, let's just stick it with the action. Let's lead to where the story is going to be. It's going to be 3 issues for now. I've had ideas of a fourth issue, but it'll probably be a prequel more than anything else of how we reach up to the point where you see Angela and Thomas running. Um, so it's gonna be crazy. For the most part, it will take place in heaven. You do see, like you saw in the preview, that you see the first half of the book, which I think it's up to page 12,
Mm,
that it is in Earth itself, and then it just showed that one more page that right there where you enter heaven, but we just cut it off right there because we really don't
yeah.
want to spoil too much, dude. It's already half the book.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Um,
good chunk of it.
Mhm.
and I met my artist John, and we've been collaborating so well, and we were just going back and forth with ideas, and eventually before I could figure out the direction I was going, I figured out the names of each book,
Nice.
and
Which
they're
are dope.
completely
They're so cool.
yes, they're completely joked. Um, which leads to my next thing. The book itself is hard with comedic relief. I think that would be the best way to say it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um, it doesn't take itself too serious. It's a horror book, but you have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, it's a zombie book. It's you can't say it doesn't exist. It's not real.
Mm,
So to leave it like that, issue 1 is called What on Earth. Um, issue 2 is called For Heaven's Sake, and issue 3 is called Oh Hell No.
so
So
great.
it kind of guides you, gives you an idea of what is going to be happening.
Mhm.
Um,
That's a great way to break
it's
it up too. And doing it in 3 issues, I
Mhm.
feel like that's just a smart storytelling format to put a level on each, a plane on each issue. I
Mhm.
think it makes it more digestible, and especially when you're approaching an indie book, like you want something that's accessible. You want something that's like, oh, I could read 3 issues of this and I have a whole story. Like I feel like that's a really smart move as an indie creator to go that route instead of going that 6 issue arc type of typical what we typically see.
Yeah, for this first book, because this is my first book I'm publishing. I like I mentioned to you off camera. I have a whole bunch of little stories that I wanna set up, put together. This first one I didn't want to make it too long
Hmm.
because I didn't want to be what's the best way of putting it? I didn't want to tire myself out with just one series already.
There you
Mm.
I
go.
want to have like
Yeah.
I want to have a set of stuff prepared. I have other scripts. I'm sorry if you could hear my dog in the background. I don't know
Oh,
if you
yeah.
could hear
Oh,
him or
Dude,
not.
good. We love animals.
yeah, my dog's
Um,
always jumping around. You're going to see my cat attack me at some
Yeah.
point in this interview. It
Yeah, my
happens.
cat's gonna be begging for like my attention, and you'll see me like reach down and
Yeah.
pick her up and everything.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, no, she's downstairs, and I could hear her barking. She's half Doberman, half German Shepherd.
Oh, it's
We
adorable.
got her from the Humane Society.
Shit, man,
So
bring her
and
on the camera. What are you talking about? Bring the dog on the camera, you know?
yeah, I'll see if let me message my wife because she's downstairs. And I told
Hey, you
her, like,
can't.
yo, we're gonna have the thing's about to start. Let's just keep it professional. But I'll let her know to see if her name is Zoe, my dog, not my wife.
That's adorable.
And let me see if she wants to come up.
Yeah, we'll take some
Um,
special guest appearances.
Yeah, well, if it's pets, I'm all about it, man. Don't even
That's right.
worry.
Let's see, I'm having to fight my cat right now too. But that's super cool. It also like, it reminds me a lot of like how indie how not, well basically they were kind of indie books at the time, but like how Image Comics started, how it had that
Hmm.
Spawn type of format. Even the artwork is very 90s um influenced, you could tell, and it's like kind of a really refreshing thing to see in this day and age where everyone, we were talking about it off air right now, and Brandon and I talk about it all the time on the show, but that cookie cutter DC Marvel, Tony Daniel, Jason Fabuk, Jim Lee, like it's all the same basically. Not to disrespect any of those artists ever, but because they're fucking phenomenal and they kick ass. But you have that comic book format that seems almost unachievable, but then you forget it could be cartoony and you bring that level back down. But it's still like above an indie like level, stereotypical indie level artwork. And so having that 90s kind of Spawn feel with exaggerated features and kind of it feels like early 90s. It feels nostalgic for me being like I was born in 92 and that's all the stuff I saw as a kid. And even those like X-Men runs that were around that time where I would just grab a random issue had that kind of
Anything
bulkiness
90s
kind of to
related
it.
at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it has that feel to it, which makes it even more fun and playful, where it makes the horror also pretty extreme as well. I feel like it's a very good balance for the story that you're trying to tell here, and it really did give me cool like fun Spawn vibes the entire time.
Yeah. When I finished writing my first issue, I knew I wanted it to look gritty. At first I was like, let's just make it look dirty. Let's just make sure that it's the opposite of what you see in every comic shop, because there's moments that I look at the comics and I just see a list of all these books and I'm like, is this done by all the same person? I really can't tell, which is
Hmm.
funny because you guys did mention it. And no disrespect, clean, crisp, it
Yeah,
looks beautiful.
yeah, it's
But
great.
I wanted something different. I honestly
Hmm.
wanted to
Hmm.
do something different. Maybe one of my maybe my fourth series will have something that has a similar art style, which is fine.
Yeah.
Were you
Um,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that my wife just messaged me that my dog's outside the door. So let me see if I can.
There you go.
That's awesome.
What I am curious to ask was, were you? I guess the best way to put it, were you always just kind of like a zombie fan?
Dude, sorry that you see me standing up and getting back down. I'm waiting to
Nah,
see
you're good.
Okay.
if my dog comes up, but I think she stayed on the in the stairwell. Let me just give her one quick call, see if she comes up. If not, I'm closing the door again.
That's awesome.
Zoe,
I love it.
I love
good
how like
girl.
Spock is like knocked out next to me too. He's just
I
like,
know, right? Oh, I got a dog.
Yeah, yeah,
All
he's
day.
just like out.
Good girl.
Good.
They could all
Yeah,
even show
sorry that you
Spock
hear
right
me.
there. There you go.
You had to praise the dog so then she could enjoy it.
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
let me just do a quick.
There
Hey,
she
there
is.
you
Yeah.
go.
What's up, Zoe? Zozo, look.
What's up?
Good
That is
girl.
adorable. That's
Oh,
cool
I
that you
love it when
rescued
they.
him.
Yeah. I love when they had little eyebrows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, it's
yeah.
Versus
amazing.
the hair.
But
Um.
she's a mixed Doberman with a German Shepherd, so she's full German at that point.
How
But
old is she?
dude, I'd be lying to you if I knew by heart. Obviously, she was adopted. When we looked at the paperwork, hey, sorry, she's just grabbing my leg. When we looked at the paperwork, they'll put like these little sheets in the cages in the kennels,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one said she was 2, but then when I started pulling them back, there was another one that said that she was 1. This was in hi. This was in 2018.
Okay.
Well, she's still young.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
about
So
she's
yeah.
5 or so,
was it
probably.
2018? She's like 5.
Yeah.
Worst case
That's like
scenario, 4 or 5.
it's like with my dog Spock. Like I got him, and it was saying his age was like 3 to 4, but then I was guesstimating he was like 2 to 3 max. Like the way his energy and his attitude was. And so I've had him for about 9 years now. Come March, so I'm estimating he's around 10 to 12 at this point.
Yeah, he's
So
he's an
Yeah,
old boy.
yeah, but
for
his
the most
energy is
part,
so
I
high
really
up.
don't think she was too old when we got her. I don't think she was 2. I think I really I want to aim at 1.5 max,
There you go.
because she's continued growing. She still got a little bit
Oh
bigger.
wow,
So
that
when
would
we
make
got her,
sense.
she was, I want to say she was like 50 pounds. Don't
Hmm.
get me wrong, we've been spoiling the hell out of her, so she got fat. But even then, she still gained about a good 10 more pounds without the excess fat. So I'm pretty sure she was probably 1.5, somewhere around there. And these dogs grow up until like 2ish, and then they get
Yeah.
the sizing that they need to get. Okay, good job, baby. Okay, sorry about that. That was a
That's okay.
2-second break right there.
Hey, we love dogs. She's probably feeling better that she's hanging out with you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
there you go.
she's just wagging her tail. She has this funny I guess I would say a tick. This weird thing that she does when we saw her the first time in the I was gonna say pounds, but that's not the correct word using anymore. It's like humane society.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. I always say pound too, but yeah.
When we saw her, she didn't really have this much interest with us at the moment. She would just look at us, but she would always do this weird thing that she would look and then she would spread her legs open.
That's adorable. That's super cute.
I'm like, why are you doing that? And then we come to discover that she does that because she likes belly scratch. Look at your cat. She loves the belly scratches, so she's always spreading her legs open, just asking for attention. Hi, baby. And it was it took her about maybe a week for her to get accustomed. No, not even. I'm lying. 3 days. By the third day, she was jumping on us. She jumped on the sofa. She was running around.
Once they realize, like, oh, I could sleep here, and you're gonna feed me, and it's warm. Oh, okay, this is cool. Like,
good job.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, my cat's just gonna be fucking with shit for a while now. So there you go. There you already see it.
But yeah, I was asking, were you that kind of person that was just into zombie movies a lot?
Dude, I feel like there's not a good. Lately, these zombie movies. I've always told my wife, I'm like, I really want to watch a good zombie movie, a good zombie show, because I feel like 60% of the time when they make that attempt, it to me was a little lackluster.
Okay. So favorite zombie movie right now. If someone was like, you got to answer it right now.
Dude, I can't do that because I have to legit. Like now, you're making me like
give me like a top 5
a list in my head, and
like
okay,
for some reason,
no particular order.
Yeah, no particular order. If you had to just recommend, How about like a recommendation?
The thing is
that. I'll go first.
Yeah, okay, what are yours, Brandon? What are yours,
yeah,
Brandon?
I'll go first. I don't have a favorite, but I think a very underrated zombie movie, legitimately underrated that no one talks about, is the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Oh yeah,
and that's really enjoyed it. I was going to actually say Dawn of the Dead.
The Zack Snyder one.
That's a Zack Snyder film too.
Yeah, that was in his early days.
Yeah, that's when
I
it was
really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Going back to what I was telling you off the record, that off us filming, that I had another zombie short story that I was working on, and it was based off of Pontypool. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh no, what is that?
Pontypool is a zombie movie. I was gonna say show. It's like one of those B graded movies.
Yeah.
Some guy is, I think he's a radio host, and apparently language gets infected. You start saying a specific word and you start converting into a zombie. Wow. And I've always thought that, I was just like, that's such a weird take. And then I thought, like, what if normally zombies, you think it's those athletic ones and they start running after you. Mm-hmm. And I started developing a story. I haven't even finished the first issue, but I have the base story of it. And like, what if a different way of language? What if it's writing? And I was just like, man, what if there's a zombie apocalypse that starts overnight? Well, not overnight, in the morning, like when school starts, and it starts off at news medias, it starts off at universities, because a letter or a symbol or a character gets infected. And I thought, I'm like, man, I need to make fun of it, but at the same time, I like the idea. So I chose the comma. And I was just like, let's just screw people over. And I thought, what's the dumbest name I could think of? And I was just like, comatose. I'm going to call it comatose. Instead of comatose.
Yes,
and I was like, eventually they're going to call it a virus or whatever. And people are going to think it's a cure that you're actually, whatever. And it's going to be the survivors are the ones that least use commas, implying, like, think of it like the 90s jocks, the cheerleaders, shit like that. And then it's just like all the infected are nerds. or professionals, they're either nerds and people in suits, or and then
Yeah.
they slowly figure it out. And by that logic, all the professors, all the scientists, they're the ones that get infected. So
There you
then it kind of
go.
like, shit, we're screwed. There is no cure. You are out of luck, because the people that were gonna make the cure were the first ones infected. I thought, I'm like, how can worst case scenario? I always try to figure out worst case scenario and build off of that,
There you
which
go.
I
That's
did.
cool.
That's a smart way of going about it.
Mm-hmm. I did it in Exit Z as well. I was just like, I could even make that into the prequel if I wanted to, but I would like to separate
Tie
that.
it all together.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't make sense, because my dialogue with with the preacher, he likes to use comments,
Oh
so
yeah.
he should
There
have,
you go.
whatever. I'm going off on a tangent there. I'm literally thinking my thoughts, saying my thoughts out loud.
No, that's
But
is like zombies. Is that like are you like a horror fan? That's where like you
That's
kind of
just like your
dived
thing.
into.
Like,
I actually spoke to somebody in another podcast, and they're like, I don't know if I want to be that zombie guy,
Mhm.
but I just happen to have two zombie stories. It's just
okay.
the way it occurred, and the first one just happens to be the first thing I'm publishing. It just happens to be one of those two.
Mhm.
But I do like a good zombie story. I look good, like man, Train to Busan. I loved. Now that
Dude,
now
that
now,
was
now that I'm,
huge when that came out.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I never got to watch Peninsula, but which is the sequel, but
So
it didn't look like if it was a sequel. It looked like it was in the same universe, but that's about it. Like takes place
so
10 years, something like that.
it is safe to say though you are a fan of like zombie media esque,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You said there was too many
Um,
movies to name, so that's a good
Mhm.
indicator that like you like watching them, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Train to Busan, Dawn of the Dead. Those are two that I enjoy. I watched that Korean show, We Are All Dead, or
Oh yeah,
what
yeah,
that.
the Netflix one. I know about that one.
Yes,
Nice. Yeah.
which that is actually partial inspiration to Exit Z, because I think at some point or another, one of the little girls starts like praying or something because she's freaking out. And then I made a joke to my wife. I'm like, can you imagine? She gets bit, dies, opens up her eyes, sees herself in heaven just to see another zombie apocalypse. And then I stayed thinking, I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Hold on.
That's cool.
Start getting online. I
I
start
gotta.
doing my little Google foo. I was just like, okay, it has to exist. Like, no, there's no origin. Well, there is originality. But for the most part, I thought it has to exist somewhere. Let me look for movies, and like, because I don't know of any movies
Yeah, I
that are
can
like
recall of
that.
anything that's been similar to this before, or like
Mhm.
a virus in heaven going
Cartoons,
off.
shows, nothing like that. And I was just like, maybe in comics it already exists. I started looking around, can't find anything that's verbatim that
Mhm.
of my idea. Maybe somebody does something, but I haven't seen, like, I know there's probably like pinups of zombie angels or something like that,
Mhm.
but a story that dives into the idea of zombies reaching the gates of heaven and just destroying everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it. Maybe it does exist, like how you're saying. We think we know so many comic creators at this point in the indie world, but dude, like, I think with all the context I know, I probably still only know like less than 1%. Like,
Oh, for sure.
it's
Yeah.
Oh
a
yeah.
huge community. It's a huge community. So maybe it does exist, and I just happen to I never bumped into that person. Like,
Dude,
I don't know, maybe somebody from Washington or Canada or Australia or something already has that idea and they published it already. But it's not going to be the same. My thoughts are my thoughts, and his thoughts are
mhm.
his at the end, or hers.
I think that's the
At the end
scary
of the
part about
day.
like making indie books. You're trying to like find something that's original, that's a story that you want to develop, and also being able to differentiate that from the mainstream to like what somebody
Hmm.
had remotely done. I remember like when I was looking at I'm trying to make a book right now called Teenage Babylon, and it used to be called Teenage Wasteland. And as I was developing the story and working on stuff, a book called Teenage Wasteland had come out, and it had been inactive for like 6 years, and it didn't even finish the whole storyline. But I was like, I can't take that title and try to do something else with it. So then I changed it to Teenage Babylon, and that just kind of worked out after that. But finding that like hook, that niche, that like that way, especially like for what you're doing as a
Hmm.
zombie thing to attract people to be like, oh, it's zombies. what new, you got to bring something new to the table. And so
Yeah.
people are going to be
Definitely.
skeptic from the start, being like, oh, it's a fucking zombie story. Yeah, we're going to fucking, we'll see how this one does it. But like that hook is so good, and that's what got
Yeah.
me into it. Like heaven and hell fighting zombie, and it's different from like Dead Space or like Doom and shit like that. Like it's there's video game aspects I could see that might have been
Mhm.
possibly an inspiration, but it's still totally radically different. Like
Well,
it's not the
I
same.
think it's just the experience as a '90s kid. At the end of the
yeah.
day,
Edgy,
we
violent stuff, entertainment.
Yeah.
yeah. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I straight up I told my the artist John Apple, I'm like, look, at the end of the day, uh I'm just gonna fuck some shit up. I'm just gonna make sure
Do you
everything. What's
do you
up?
feel like I don't know how you'd want to answer this, but like, do you feel like when it comes to zombies in comics specifically, not like every other media out like shoved out of the way, but the comics realm, I don't know if some writers or artists feel this way, but do you feel like when it comes to creating a zombie story, you're kind of going up against this uphill battle because Walking Dead kind of just became like the zombie comic, and I feel like people are always like, that's the zombie book to look at, that's like the modern zombie book, and I feel like,
That's a zombie book to look at.
mhm,
Um, yes, I do think Kirkman did a great job with that series, and I'm pretty sure they raised the bar. So there's probably imitations out there that didn't last 2 seconds. I've been blessed with this Kickstarter so far. We already hit funding, and we're trying to reach our first stretch goal. So I know
Yeah, kicking ass on it,
there is
dude.
thirst for it. There is hunger for it. Pun
There you
intended,
go.
I guess. I had to correct myself. But my zombie story, it defies everything. It doesn't follow the rules. It doesn't follow the thought of, oh, is it a running zombie or is it those slow zombies? Oh, does it can it do this or can it do that? I'm like, nah, dude. My zombies here are just to fuck shit up. It's just they're hungry. They just want to terrorize everything. They just want to destroy everything. It's borderline World War Z in that sense, in that scene where they start piling each other up if they needed to be able to
Yeah.
reach that food. But I do think that The Walking Dead definitely set the bar. Um, I will never compare myself to them just because it is a zombie, but it's a drama.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
it's
very
it's
much
a
a
just like
human
a
drama.
drama.
drawn out, like it's a soap
Yeah.
opera 100%.
It's
Like there's some
mine is
issues you're just like, okay, like what
Oh yeah,
fucking
it's just
happened? It
it's a
was
little bit of a drag in certain
yeah.
parts. But let's say if The Walking Dead is a horror drama, more drama than horror sometimes, mine is horror with comedic relief.
Nice.
Um, because I don't think there's comedy. It's not that much. If there is comedy, I've never paid attention to it in The Walking. But you can see it down to the name of the books of issue 1, 2, and 3.
Mhm.
In the preview, that first zombie that attacks the preacher, there's a toothbrush coming out of his neck.
Yeah, yeah. There's small little
Yeah.
details in there that again, it
Mhm.
goes back to that 90s aspect that if you really take your time and look at the art and really notice
Oh
what,
yeah,
he's
dude.
been doing.
Well, that first page that you see heaven, the only page that you see heaven, that's literally a game of worlds. Where's Waldo? First of all, he's in there. Second of all,
Oh,
there's
dang.
just
All
so
right.
many. There's just so
That's
many
cool.
people. If you guys look at it, you'll see it there. There's so many iconic people in that page, and some that are not so iconic. But there's a little bit of everything in there. There's some baseball players. There's a previous presidents. There's musicians. There is what else is there? I'm trying to think in the top of my head. I don't have it in front of me. There's a Viking. There's an Indian tribe.
That's fucking sick.
Dude, it's just it's basically it's the heaven that everybody's allowed in.
Mhm.
Everybody's equally able to get in, and everybody's equally able to die. At the end of the day.
That's cool.
So
That's
it
an
it
awesome way
it
of
it,
looking
it,
at it.
is, it accepts everyone because at the end of the day, the zombies aren't picky. They don't care. Like the pitch goes, they're not picky where they eat. So
Yeah, that's what I noticed, and that's what I kind of, it goes back to like finding that right hook with the zombie thing. It's always the brains, or it's always shoot them in the
Yeah,
head, or it's always this aspect. But like yours, a fuck 'em up is always just like, oh, this is fun and refreshing. Like,
yeah.
please, this is what I
yes,
want with a
that's
zombie
why I
thing.
needed to stay with 3 issues. I didn't want to drag it. That's why it's constantly packed with action. I was going to say action packed, and I literally said the same shit backwards. It's constantly packed with things. I actually had an idea of how to separate this story, and I think I'm saying it out loud for the first time, so I don't know if it makes sense, and I don't know if it's done like that. But this first issue is 24 pages. My goal is 32 for the remaining 2 issues, and I said I need a wow factor every 8 pages.
Nice. There you
So
go.
it's
Good way
not
to
just the
follow it.
beginning, middle, and end. I need a crap. This is happening. What's going to happen? Like every 8 pages, give or take. No, it's not going to be precise, especially with the editing, moving things around. You're not gonna be able to pin it down. But I wanted that wow factor every couple of pages. Something crazy, something insane. I don't know if you had the chance to read the script.
Yeah.
There's I'm almost about to. I said this in the last podcast. I'm almost about to fanboy my own stuff, so I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Nah,
But there's
You're
you
allowed to
got
be a
to.
fan of your own stuff. You have to. You got to own
Yeah.
up to it and be
Mhm.
proud of it.
yeah, but then I start letting things slip, and I start spoiling stuff.
Oh yeah, that's another matter
Yeah.
too. You know what I
You
mean?
gotta be
Having
careful of
that
spoilers, though.
we
Well,
try
if
to be
you if,
cautious
if you
on
read
that
the
on the show.
script, I'm gonna be as vague as possible. The solution
Mhm.
to what they thought was going to be the outcome is gonna be a full page, and I'm really avoiding to say it. That's why I'm not sure if you read the script or not. The solution into stopping the zombies at the gates of heaven.
Oh yeah, I read that
Man,
like before the show,
that's
but
gonna be insane. It's gonna make people question a lot of things, hopefully. But at
I
the end of the day, it's I'm really trying. I don't remember if which version of the book I sent you guys. I think if I changed it this morning to there's one that has a little bit additional dialogue at the end. The original one I didn't have the dialogue in there because I wasn't sure if I was gonna add it or not. But it's a very fun. It's a fun read. Not because maybe you like the idea or the point of view that they're giving. It's just a fun read because you're just like, what do you do in that situation?
yeah,
Like let's say you reach that point in life. You reach that point in afterlife, and let's say you do reach a specific location where you think that you're in a harmonious and loving, peaceful paradise, and then shit just hits the fan somehow in a place that it's not supposed to. Like, what do you do at that point? How do you figure out the resolution? The people that takes care, the management company that takes care of them, how do they resolve? How do they get rid of it? So I try to think outside the box as much as possible, and I was just like, I need to just figure out different ways, different tweak it around each time. Um, the current script right now is 1.28. So from the point of me sending out the script to John the first time to now, I've tweaked it 28 times.
oh, there you go.
Mild tweaks. Like if I add an extra line somewhere, I'll be like, okay, 1.01, okay,
Yeah,
1.02, things like that. But it's never affected him directly. Majority of the time, it's because he figures out a way to do a scene where I didn't think of it that way, and I was just like, shit, I prefer that. And when I see the page, I'm like, dude, you left it in a way that I need to fill it. There's dialogue that needs to be here. Like I didn't have it there. And I was like, okay, I'll add this extra line, which eventually, that's with my letterer, Nikki Powers, which, first of all, it's me, George Alvarez,
hmm yeah.
John
Apologize
Apple.
for not even addressing this as being the show. We got so much
Yeah,
weird
I
stuff.
like I said, I'm fanboying myself, and I'm just completely disregarding everybody else. So let me just mention their names, and I'll eventually start talking about them. George Alvarez, which is me.
Mhm.
John Apple, the artist, he does the standard cover. Edgar Wolf with a V at the end, and he's the colorist, and Nikki Powers, which she is the Sorry, I received the message. She is the letterer.
Hmm.
First of all, I love my creative team. Um, I could go off on a tangent and talk about everybody that I've asked for pinups. Like, I really want to just make it pop, make this thing go insane, make it crazy. So I've asked so many creators, hey, do a pinup here, do a pinup there, or I'll ask them for help for the digital deluxe, which we'll go into in a little bit. Um, and for my specific creative team, which reaches to the lettering, I have Nikki where I'll send her one page at a time, and then she'll shoot me her draft. I look at it, and I'm like, I look at it because I see certain. You can only imagine so much. I'm more
Yeah.
than sure once you start, you're gonna look at it. It's gonna happen. You're gonna look at your page, and you're thinking like this script is as good as it's gonna get, and then you just see the page colored, which looks amazing. And then you tell your letter and like, okay, time to add everything. And then you see it, and then like right in the middle, there's just a gap there. And you're looking at it, you read the first two, and you're like, okay, cool. Third panel doesn't have any writing. You immediately go to the fourth panel. And I was like, wait, no, I want them to pay attention into the third panel. I don't want them to just skim over it.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, it makes no sense how he reached from here to here. Let's add an explanation, or let's just add some form of a dialogue in there that's needed, that's missing. I've noticed it's happened to me a couple of times where I've added significant amount of dialogue after the fact, but it helps it move forward. It gives that nice um
Like flow.
transition.
Yeah, flow and
Yes.
transition to that.
And I need to always make sure I have that flow. If I feel like there's a part that's clunky, which I don't know, sometimes I feel like people don't notice it. There's moments that I look at a script, I look at a book, and I'm like, man, it feels a little clunky. It's like you just jump from here to here. I'm like, no, let's. I would add this. And I was just like, okay, I'm the writer now. I should add this. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't say so. So I'll be like, okay, hey Nikki, this is awesome. This is perfect. Look at panel 3. Let's separate that, and look at panel 5. Let's add this extra dialogue. She sent it back to me today. She sent me page 10, lettered, um, and it looks great. It was just a little bit of there was, I think, some dialogue at the end that I wanted to add an extra stutter because of the preacher stumbling when he's fighting the second zombie.
Nice.
And I was just like, no, let's add a stutter in there because so then it looks like he's freaking out. It
Hmm.
shows his nerves are already leaving him at that point. He's already freaking out. So first of all, I don't remember what the original question was. Um,
I know I love hearing about your process behind it because that's
Yeah.
such a key thing, behind making an indie book and the collaboration that goes along with that. I don't think a lot of people realize what you were saying, when you write a script
mhm.
and it's just kind of like the skeleton of the house, and you're going to
Yes,
be adding the layers, which are the pencils and the inks and the coloring, and then you're adding the final painting, and you're choosing the colors, and putting hanging shit up on the walls. And when you're hanging shit up on the
yeah,
walls,
dude,
you're
you're
just
still
like,
missing the furniture. You're missing everything. You
yeah, you get a couch,
the
you put the couch
style.
there, then you got to move that shit over there. You know what I mean? Like that frame doesn't work there anymore. Like you got to adjust the TV. Like,
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
you imagine it to go one direction, you put it that direction you want it, and then you're looking at it and like you're stupid. Why would you even like that? It makes more
yeah,
sense if you put it here. I've done that a couple of times already with the book, where I make minor tweaks. Hopefully, I don't annoy my creators when it comes to that, but I'm pretty cool when it comes to explaining it to them, and they're pretty straightforward. They let me know, look, I don't think this works, or maybe we could do it. Let's check it out. Let's see how it looks. Things like that. John, going back to him real quick because he's the creator that I've dealt with the longest right now because
mhm,
he's the artist inker. So before I even speak to a colorist, before I even consider a letter, I'm working with him.
Hmm.
And we had in the very beginning, he tells me, look, I like page 2. It's 2 panels on top, one in the middle, 2 on the bottom. He goes, I think we could merge both panels on top, make it into one rectangular panel. Panel 3 could be split in half. We could leave that alone, and we could leave the bottom 2 alone. So then we'll go back and forth, and then we try to figure it out. And then I'll be either I'll say something along the lines of like, "You're right." I give them a lot of freedom.
yeah,
I love getting their 2 cents on it. Like, don't be afraid to tell me worst case scenario. What can I say? No, and that's almost never happens. And we're like,
Hmm.
okay, we'll work with it, especially if it's a struggle for them. I don't want to make them struggle so then the art looks clunky, you
Yeah.
know?
Or
I don't
something that
want
they're
them
like
to be like,
overly uncomfortable with where it might not, be their best. Because it's everyone, like even with you with the back and forth tweaks, everyone's trying to give their best work.
mm-hmm,
And you as a writer, yeah, you could do the draft and whatnot, but then like them as the artist, they could actually see what's going on the page and make the edits as they're
mm-hmm,
visually seeing it. As a writer, you really don't get to see how it looks on the page until you get it back from letters, like you said. So it kind of, you starts
exactly.
with you and kind of circles back around. And but if you want to like match the caliber of the penciler, inker, or colorist, and letter, you know what I mean. You want to match your team's caliber, and sometimes what you
Yeah,
started with as a writing kind of needs to evolve sometimes because of what's changed within the story, because they're also telling the same story that you gave them. It's a whole pattern behind
exactly.
things.
It's their perspective to the story, and it's
Yeah.
always good to have an extra pair of fresh eyes looking at it. Like not talking about my colorist real quick. That art style, I love it.
Oh yeah.
He's the second colorist for the same project. I ended up we ended up parting ways with the first one mid December,
Hmm.
and then I started with him from scratch. And I just look at his art, his colors, and I'm like, it's so insane. He you could see the way he separates the background from the foreground. You could differentiate it. He has these you would assume they're wacky colors,
Hmm.
and then the way that he just puts them in the page, the colorist Edgar, he does the colors for both covers.
Oh, cool.
So you
That's really
could
nice.
see his colors are everywhere. And I don't know if you got to see the picture of the second cover, which
Yeah.
is
Fucking sick,
the
dude.
angel getting, like,
Yeah.
the zombie eating the brain matter as if it's popcorn or something from the angel. And the way he separated the colors in the background, he made the original, I think it was just black in the bottom and then white on top, the original inking. And he did it in such a way that the black becomes hell and the white becomes the sky of heaven. And like he just made that pop. And I was looking at him like, dude, I wouldn't have thought of that, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I would have, I don't know, but at that very moment I didn't think of that. And I love his colors. His colors are insane. They're nowhere near flat. They're
Hmm.
vibrant. They're a little bit everywhere. um you have different colored zombies, which because of that, the way that he did it, it gave me ideas for issue 2.
Nice.
And I was just like, you know what, I can manipulate issue 2 a little bit, tweak it, because now I know the direction that I'm going with. Now I know how it's going to look.
Hmm.
Now I know what colors are going to be used.
You
And
have a
because now
better
it's,
visual than you did when you were
yeah,
doing
dude.
issue one. Yeah.
And with that whole thing with the changing of the colors of the zombies, I thought I could definitely work with that. It wasn't originally those wacky colors. I'm not gonna say wacky, but they're amazing.
Yeah, well, it,
Those
it comes
colors
back
that
to
were
that
used.
cartoony feel that we were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
That's what the whole book kind of has, is that kind of almost animated, texture to it, and
Yeah,
it's so interesting. That's what makes it really like a fun book, being a zombie book, because you want fun action with zombies. It's a different take. It's not just horrific, scary,
Yeah,
terrifying.
it's also like it's the kind of book that kind of reminds people, like specifically in like the indie comic scene. A lot of creators tend to, they take like a genre, and there's one that's already been like the blowout success of that genre. Like we were talking about, everybody always talks about how like Walking Dead is like the zombie comic, right? But then so people kind of either find themselves on two sides of this like spectrum where it's like they try to play into like the kind of like the standard that's been set, or they try really hard to go against the grain. But then, a book like this is a nice reminder for people to just kind of like be passionate about what you want to create, but also have fun with it. You're allowed to have
Hmm.
fun with it and do just what makes you
definitely,
happy. You know,
definitely.
like, yeah, it's a zombie book, and yeah, they're going to eat brains. Like, you don't always have to follow it to a T or try so hard to change the whole formula. You can just be passionate about the project and also just go with it and just do what makes you happy. And it's also another reminder of like the beauty of writing, and the process of writing is rewriting.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the weird niche to comics is that the rewriting is just the entire re-editing or the editing process of the whole team, like redrawing stuff, replacing panels, rewriting scripts, rewriting dialogue, replacing certain fonts or whatever, and kind of
Mhm.
like how that whole creative process, that passion, and just having fun with it creates something like this and allows it to stick out. Like you were saying earlier, like we've never seen zombies invade heaven, or at least as far as we're all three of us know right now, I haven't
That,
seen a
that,
book
that
like
I
that either.
noticed
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
Yeah, like to my knowledge, to your knowledge as well.
Yeah.
And so,
And that's a pretty wide
that's
spectrum right there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's
And
fucking
to
sick.
to just have fun with it is what allows you to create something like this. And you don't get so hyper focused on like following the standard protocol or trying to be such a different like story. It's just you're just doing you.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually I had spoke with someone previously, and they shot me an idea, and I hated the fact that they shot me this idea because it stuck with my head. I was like, damn it, that'd be cool.
I
Um,
didn't think of it.
like I'm annoyed by it because it's like crap. I should have I could easily add that in there. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I should. And it's just basic conversation, but it ended up leading to something along the lines of we have our human cemetery, so obviously we have heaven, but we also have pet cemeteries. What if there's like 3 blocks down, there's right next to heaven, there's like a little pet one, and then now we introduced animals into the mix, and kind of like the way what's that zombie movie on Netflix? Ah, man, I'm doing bad right now with names. That they're trying to steal in Vegas and it's
Oh,
infected.
that
Oh,
other Zack Snyder zombie movie.
Army of the Dead or whatever.
Army,
Yeah.
Army of
Yeah.
the that they made the part two, which is the prequel. And I remember when I saw that CGI tiger, and I was
Yeah.
like, the concept of this is dope. The concept of this is cool. And I was just, and then I thought about it again once this guy gave me the idea of the pet heaven next door, and I was like, why'd you tell me this, dude? Like now I'm gonna implement it or not, but it would be cool.
It would be cool. See what your
But
artist
I
thinks
think I,
about
I
that
think
first
I
before they're
think I'm
like,
more
fuck you.
worried about offending the people that like pets than
Well,
Just
people
it's
than
it's
I
anybody else
mean,
at that point,
it's
because
a
I
zombie
I know
thing,
for a fact
like
people are offended already with this book. I've received a message
I
or two
I
once.
was
you
gonna
know,
ask you that. Like, oh no, go ahead, Brandon, before I go into that.
I was just gonna say like I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are gonna hate me for saying this, but like it's not like you're trying to offend someone, and it's not like you're going to. It's a zombie story, and you're not
Yeah.
trying to go to like extreme. I don't
But
know
if I saw a
exactly what.
zombie cat, I would get it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
already dead. For
it's
one,
already
it's
been.
already dead.
I mean, yeah, I've already seen in media like zombie animals before. Like
Yeah, and it's the
I
same
don't
reaction.
know.
Like that seems fucking
Cemetery.
cool. Pet Cemetery,
Yeah,
yeah, Stephen
that's.
King.
I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
even like I don't know, Magic the Gathering has like cards that are
Mhm.
zombie animals. Like I don't think you'd have to worry about that. That's just me though. Like it's not like you're trying to be insensitive. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
No, that's the like I said, I spoke most with John than anybody else, and we were making a joke because there was a book, I forgot who it was. I think it was a Lobo book from the 90s. It was with that grungy art, and I think there's one. This it has a. I don't remember if it was Lobo or somebody else, and it has a sticker saying this is not for the easily offended.
Oh
And I was
yeah,
just like,
probably
I would
some
love to
Simon
put
Beasley
that, and then
stuff.
I think I'll piss off people if I put that. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm just gonna let it be, not bring it up, and people. I like I said, I did receive a message or two about how it's offensive and whatnot, and I was just like, dude, it's a zombie book. It's not real. Like, calm down. It's a
Yeah.
comic book.
There you go.
Like,
Well,
it's a
I was
comic
gonna
book. That's
say,
the first thing. And then second of all, it's a comic book about zombies. It's not like I'm a who am I? Is there a zombie community in real life that they're protected class or something? I don't know. Like,
Like a hyper Catholic zombie community. Like
yeah.
I guess. And
like I don't know. Like people
I
get.
know,
I've
I
always
know,
said
I
this.
know why they're complaining for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
but I completely disregard those questions when, or not those questions, because I answer all the questions as I best can, but I completely disregard those comments when they're upset with it. And I was like, dude, the last thing you need to worry about is a zombie apocalypse in heaven. Okay,
Yeah.
it's
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up in a Catholic family. I'm not religious myself. I'm past that. But like they the religious community of like Catholic and like super hardcore Christian people, it's like there's a lot of random things of hills they'll die on of like when it comes to religion. Like,
Yeah.
the original Testament, the old Bible had some pretty crazy things going on, but the moment you have like a zombie angel, it's like, oh no, 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 we got we
God
gotta we
forbid.
gotta stop the we
You're gonna
gotta
be
stop this
picketing me.
guys.
Yeah.
Now, is that good publicity or is that bad publicity when
Hey,
people
people are
start
talking about your book. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it
they-
is. Plus, like, if an article came out saying, like, oh, Christian Catholic community is super upset about XOC for how it portrays heaven, I would be one of those people and be like, well, let me know why.
Shit,
I want to.
yeah, I gotta go buy this
They
book
wonder
now.
why.
Yeah, like to me, that's a selling point.
Yeah.
Like to me, I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah,
And
let's fucking get through this.
Again, from my experience of a Catholic family, let me just say the obscene, crazy things that they say about other communities, I don't get.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they got
they've done more damage than your zombie book.
Yeah,
in every
they're
sense.
gonna
Yeah,
continue
I'm
to
not-
do more damage.
it's silly messages. I've had maybe max 2 at this point, but I won't say that they're insulting, but they question it and they're upset about it.
Mhm.
Hey, Zoe, you just hit your head.
Poor doggy.
Sorry, dog just hit she tried to scratch her head, those weird movements, and she just went and just
Bah.
smacked her head. And
They got 4 heads of steel though. They can
Yeah.
handle it.
oh yeah, down, good girl. And it's, I don't know. I try to. I would never want to offend anyone. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna go out of my way and be like, oh yeah, you guys are stupid.
Because that's not your
No,
intent.
nothing.
Your
No, you're
intent's
not
for
intending-
fun.
no.
Yeah,
And
it's fun. You're making a cool story. You're making a comic.
Yeah.
You're doing what you could do in comics,
Comic
which
book.
is fucking anything you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a movie. It's not a short story. It's none of that. It's a fucking comic, and you could do
Yeah.
anything in comics as long as your artist can draw it. By all means, like
Yeah,
I actually shot the book at a specific publisher, and they straight up told me they didn't like the art, they didn't like the story. So I was just like, okay. And then they were telling me, if you tweak here, if you do this, if you do that, if you do the other. And I was like, yeah, dude, but that's starting from scratch, and just to appease you. And at the end of the day, it'll be royalties. I won't be able to post on Kickstarter. And I was like, nah, I need to pay off this book.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I'm able to do issue 2 without a problem. I don't want it to die on issue 1. And I've been telling the whole world it's a trilogy. It's a 3-part, and then it just ends there, and you never see the light of day of it again.
Mhm.
But once I had that explanation to me of why they won't be able to pick it up, I was just like, you know what? I was gonna try to quote somebody and I forgot his name. I just said, "Fuck it, we'll do it live." Bill.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the Bill O'Reilly or whatever thing.
Yeah, the Bill Riley skit.
Yeah.
We were all upset and shit, and I was just like, you know what? All you did was just add fuel to the fire, and I'm just gonna fucking go all the way, and I tweaked a little more of the story just to make matters worse.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was like,
that's
fuck it.
that's
Yeah.
kind of like one of those inspirational moments where like getting shot down sometimes or something devastating happening to you trying to make success out of your creation. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that'll add more fuel to you than it will discourage you. And that's the
Yeah,
approach
dude.
to always try to take.
Don't get me
for a lot of-
wrong. It originally bummed me out. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
But
for-
again,
yeah, yeah.
it
what
sucks
are the
every time.
chances?
It
What are
sucks,
the
yeah.
chances of creator being so successful on their first shot? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't exist. Don't get me. And the person I spoke to, he's super cool. I have no issues. We keep contact, but maybe there is a story. One of my 27 write-ups that I have, they're not even proper scripts yet, but the ideas, I need to write them down, because if not, if I talk about a cool idea and I don't write it down in an hour, I'm gonna be like,
What was it again?
fuck, I should have written
Yeah.
it down. So I have a whole bunch of little ideas, down to even children's stories, because I want to do one of my dog,
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
the misadventures of Zoe, because
Yeah.
she's always acting like a crazy animal, and I was just like, what does she imagine she lives in? And I was just like, kind of like a Rugrat style, but of my dog instead.
That's
So
amazing.
I have that there. So it's I go to all directions. I have a cool little comedy that I have prepping, and I have this one story that I've already have the first 2.5 issues scripted out, and I know for a fact I have the idea of up to issue 5, and that's my long comic series, because could continue it past the issue 5. I haven't even prepared issue 1 yet, so I'm gonna first see how people consider it, because I work in property management, and I thought to myself, in income restricted property management, and I thought, I'm like, wouldn't it be a cool idea? Some guy gets hired, starts working in income restricted property management. Not the best of locations, but middle grounds, kind of there. And then when he finally gets there, it's a property filled with animal humanoids, anthropomorphic creatures, and they have this. They're more advanced because they didn't go through the Renaissance and whatnot. Um, and because of that, they have technology that when they walk outside of the property, they convert to human, and when they walk back in, they're completely normal. So you never see the light of day. You never even notice they're there. Kind of like a Men in Black type of thing that
Yeah.
they zap you and you forgot that they were there in the first place. And it's funny because that story. I know I'm going off on a tangent again. I'm going off script here, but it actually is based off of my experience when I started from the first position, which is just a little consultant in the front and whatnot. And now I'm property manager, so I've kind of reached that point. It's about 10 years that I've been working in this field, and it's just so many stories to tell, and there's certain things that you cannot say. So I was just like, let me just pretend that they're an eagle and like go on from there, like throw that story in there. So like I said, that story, that series that I have in my head that I started writing, scripting it out, that one could be a long, long, long story. Has nothing to do with horror, has nothing to do with zombies or anything like that. But it just goes to my point of like I have a little bit of everything everywhere, and
That's
I really
awesome.
didn't want to die out on my first issue of my zombie story.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know how it was
Mhm.
gonna work out. I've been blessed to be able to say we are funded at, let me go double check. We're fully funded right now. We're doing our first stretch goal, and we're less than $100 away from the stretch goal, which are prints. Basically, I want
Nice.
to, at this point, just give everything back to the people that actually helped me back. We're at 2902. Our goal was 2600. First stretch was at 3K, and
That's great.
yeah, it's a blessing. It honestly is. And I just want to be able to say at that point, I'm like, look, at this point, all this money here, it's not for me for profit, because I knew my first book, I was going to be, you're going to be at a loss a little bit.
Yeah, you got to pay your
Mhm.
artists. You got
You're
to
gonna
pay
be
You
in
got
the
to pay
hole.
people.
everything. Everybody's got to
hmm
get a cut of the
Yeah.
pie.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's difficult as a writer, man. I wish I used to draw back in the day, but no, nothing in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it would make my life easier if I was an artist instead. I'd be able to
Vibes.
just
Totally
draw
understand
everything.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
But
as
it's
a like a
pricey.
yeah, as a writer, like we're writers too, Brandon and I, and it's one of those things like, we realize that the artist does need to get paid and you got to figure that out
Of
through the
course.
Kickstarter and
No, without a
They get
doubt.
royalties and
paid
like
more, if anything.
yeah,
Like
hmm
like we'd rather take nothing and just have the book out and then have this artist be happy and comfortably
Yep.
paid somehow, And it's an indie book. It's another thing to understand too, is that like as making an indie book, everyone needs to make a sacrifice for a bit to get a
Mhm.
reward later,
yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
kind of the
dude.
hard part is finding that team. And it looks like you have a very awesome team,
I've been blessed.
collaborating with
Like I'm
you.
telling you, like I've been super lucky. It took a little bit to build this team.
Mm,
Um, like I said, I started off with John, I think back in March of last year. And then I met Edgar mid-December, and
nice.
then Nikki around, shoot, dude, I don't, was it, I don't even know if it was the ending of December or already this year,
Oh,
somewhere
nice.
around that time frame.
So it's like
But
fresh kind of relationships that you're already kind of kickstarting really fast and like moving and making
instantly,
something.
dude, and it just hook, line, and sinker. It just did so well with Edgar, and then I bumped into Nikki, which none of the three creators have ever collaborated with each other.
Nice.
So this is like, you come
A
here,
new
you come
team
here, you come
altogether.
here. Let's put them together and just hit it. And it's worked out so well. I've built a great rapport with each and every one of them.
That's great.
Um, and I try to do my best to make sure that they get paid. Oh, not try my best. I make sure they get paid.
Mm-hmm.
We don't move forward for the most part on certain aspects. Right now, since we're doing the Kickstarter, um, the majority of that money is just to finish off their payments and all the way to the end of the book,
Uh-huh.
and then just printing,
There
shipping.
you go. Yep.
None,
Yeah.
none of that
The
really goes to
basics.
me.
Yeah.
The basics. I think the Kickstarter covered about half the book, to be honest. The
Nice.
half the cost of the book, the base 2,600. But it's exactly what it is. It's a sacrifice you need to make in the beginning because, okay, right now I have what 76 backers. I can only assume when I do issue 2, I'm going to have more than 76 backers. And it's just, I need to hit cons. I need to build that rapport
Mm-hmm.
with the audience. I need to find more people because this is just purely, honestly, friends, family. That's going to take a good chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Creators I know,
Mm-hmm.
and then just constantly talking crap on Twitter, people following me on Instagram. Yeah, I'm that guy who's just like, since I'm in the zombie mode right now because this is the series I'm going with. I'm like, and I've messaged people. I'm like, yo, let's just talk some crap and make some zombie jokes
There you
in
go.
Twitter.
Hell yeah, I gotta check that out. I'll try to retweet some
Nice.
stuff. That
Kind
sounds
of
fun.
working. It's a slow and steady pace. I think both Twitter and Instagram I'm at 300 people.
Well, I
Facebook
mean,
I'm at 700,
battling
but I
that
don't get a single
algorithm.
reaction.
Yeah,
I don't know what's wrong with that.
battling that algorithm is just a motherfucker in
Shoot, dude.
general.
Just
Like,
going
have-
against other people that are like in the similar hashtag or whatever.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just like trying to, as creators, I feel like we get less attention than anything else because we're not twerking and like doing, TikTok videos and everything. Like,
Yeah.
and we're just trying to show some art. We're there for what it was intentionally made for, like showing art and being creative and networking and building a community. And the base that all of us get through it, it's how we discovered each other, for one. But just that little bit of growth, that little bit of reach that you get, that new advancement is what it's the positive aspect to look forward, because it's going to
Yeah.
dip for a bit and it'll come back up. It's always in waves, but we hate social media too, believe me. It's just
Yeah, dude,
another beast to like tame and master and try to get through.
social media in the sense of marketing is no joke. It does get
Mhm.
tiring because
Yeah.
I know there's people out there that they'll pay attention to you. They'll look at everything you post. And I feel like I'm going to annoy the hell out of them because I'm posting the same crap over and over and over again. But that's because
Got to. You got to
they're paying
promote it.
attention
But
to me,
look
so
at
they see
Jay.
it.
Jay
But
Red,
every,
he's been posting about the Kickstarter 2 or 3 times a day, and
yeah.
different posts, different things, and it's kicking ass. Like his Kickstarter's over 200%.
Oh, dude, he's a beast, man.
He's on it. He's playing that social media
He
stuff
is
really well.
on it like white on rice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when I hit my 75 backers, which was yesterday, I needed to do a new update, and I don't mind saying that here. And every time I do an update, I add on to the digital deluxe, which I'll hit it just for real quick.
Oh yeah, tell
Digital
us about that
deluxe
real
is
fast
basically,
before we wrap
I
up.
teamed up with all these creators. They've all been a blessing to the sense that they've been willing to donate their issue ones. I had one guy that donated his first 4 issues, and it's just basically this huge digital package for $25. It started off with just $10, and I think we're like 16 or 17
Oh
now.
wow, that's a dope bundle to grab then.
It's not bad, dude. It's less than $2 per book at this point, and it
That's
includes
awesome.
Exit as the issue 1.
That's brilliant.
It also shows up in the $50 tier. That's $25. There's a $50 tier called the Heavenly Bundle, which is basically that. And for an addition, that $25 difference will be standard cover, alternate cover. Oh, I haven't talked about the alternate artists. Standard cover, alternate cover, and I haven't talked about my pin maker. I have a local pin maker
Oh nice.
in Miami.
Oh, nice.
So I teamed up with them. They're called Pins Bro. Super cool. We already started we had already the outline for the first pin, which I don't think we're gonna make it to the second pin. I think I put the stakes way too high for that. I think I put it at 4,000 stretch goal, and I have 6 days left. You never know. I'm gonna keep on pushing.
Yeah.
But I have her. Her name is Janessa. She's super cool, super laid back. She's super helpful. She gives me pointers for it. And my alternate cover artist, John Kotsis, super cool. It's a different art style. I've built a quick and fast but good relationship with him. We're always sharing each other's stuff on Instagram,
Nice.
copying the stories and whatnot. Like I said, I really try my best to make sure all the creators are cool, they're happy with me. I got some pinups. One of the pinups is by J Red.
Yeah.
I fell in love with that pinup, dude. The day that he sent it to me, I was just like, get the fuck out of town. This is so cool. It's that one with all the zombie hands going in, and then you see the preacher in the middle.
Oh shit.
It'll be part of the pack.
Okay.
It's part of the. It was part of the link that I sent you. It should be in the pinup
Yeah,
section.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I didn't realize that was Jay's work. That's fucking cool.
That's
super cool.
Jay. Have Bob Garnelis. I hope I pronounce his last name proper. He's from not Part-Time Comics, Kingbone Press, but he works with Part-Time Comics a lot. And he did the pinup of the preacher with the cross in the background with the zombies, but he gave me two variations of it. And I was just like, I like both. I'm not gonna pick and choose which one, so I'm just gonna want to work on both. And then the last one is Nicholas Mueller, which you see Thomas running in the middle, and he does this crazy demon hunter book, but it's the demon hunter is Winnie the Pooh. And I was like,
because it's no longer copyrighted. That's right.
Yeah,
yeah, dude, it dropped.
Yeah.
And I already know the direction he's going, because there's a few animals, including a mouse out there, that eventually it's gonna go out. And I was just like, I know what he's gonna do. I know what he's gonna do. So I'm excited with that. I backed his book. Super cool.
that's awesome.
I should be getting it any second. I need to check my mail if I received it or not. But that's just talking about my pinup artists real quick, just to throw them in there. I know I'm going quick at this point because I don't know how much time we have left. But the digital rewards, the basic one with just the book, it starts at $6. The basic physical is at $12 for the regular cover, $15 for the alternate. You could get if you want the pin, it's at $16. I mentioned the 25. I mentioned the 50. We did the retailer ones. I kind of blasted out to like 40 comic shops like 3 days ago.
Nice.
I've been putting. I sent them private messages all at the same time, back to back. I guess I got caught in an algorithm or something from Instagram and Facebook. I've been in Instagram jail since.
Oh,
with
dang.
them. I'm not
Whoa, they do that for
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Let me see. I took a picture of what I realized. They don't tell you, first of all. You just realize something's going on and it's just not working. I'm gonna look for it real quick. I just noticed that it says unable to send.
Jesus.
And I was like, what? Okay, here we go.
Wow, that's interesting.
I didn't know it does
Whoa.
that. What the hell?
Just to block you from like kind of not. I hate to use this word.
I'm not
but
gonna lie.
spamming
I
you.
stand.
Yeah.
I stand, but it's for the benefit of my book. Because I'm trying to get at
A
least
message
one
out.
retailer to hook it up. And I think it's a $75 tier, and I think it's like $10 or something like that.
That's dope though.
No,
Yeah.
more. Eight standard, 4. It's a low ball amount. It's like I think it's like 50% off the pricing
Nice.
in total, and it comes with pins as well. But I tried. I ended up contacting a couple others via email. I haven't seen any responses yet, unfortunately, but it's just
Get
the way
something
it
over
is.
time. You know what I mean? It's part of the hustle. You know the
Reaching
hustle
out to
is the
people.
next part after creating.
Yeah, dude.
Hustling.
But that's where I got Instagram jail for a bit. I think I'm able to message now. It happened to me on Facebook too, where I just spammed everybody, and I was just like, "Look, check out the book," and I noticed same exact thing. Then again, it's all Meta, the
Yeah,
company.
true.
And
That'd be true.
I got blocked there, and I got blocked there from sending messages to people that I haven't sent messages before to.
Oh, wow.
That's how they differentiate it. If you've never sent a message to them, it won't work. But if you've already spoken to them, they'll let you speak.
Oh wow.
And it was
say
like
hi to
3-4 days.
everybody in my messages before we start doing.
Yeah, just do that in advance. Just say hi to everyone.
Yeah.
No, but that actually that'll be counterproductive. You'll get blocked because of that. Because you
that's true.
spammed everybody.
Dude,
God, had
I
no
guess you got to
ideas like
sprinkle.
that.
It's like a 6-month plan. You got to message 6 months in
Yeah,
advance. to start that.
Yeah.
just send like
You gotta
three
build up to
messages
it.
per hour,
Yeah.
and I think you'll be good. But I learned that the hard way. Whatever. You live and learn. It's nothing.
One
Not
of
a
those
big
things.
deal.
It's part of the Kickstarter journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
dude, it's so much. I've learned so much from this. I've learned a new level of anxiety.
Yeah,
To be honest with you, those first couple of days that I see no movement, I'm like, oh, crap. What else can I do? So I always start shooting out different ideas of what to do, and I start trying it. Kind of works sometimes. Sometimes I don't see even like a peep from anything. But progress is progress, and
Hmm.
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I have no background history with people. Nobody knows who I am in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's hard to follow a book on someone on Kickstarter that you don't see a track record.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
everybody
that's
starts
the point.
somewhere, though.
Everybody
You
starts.
know.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
Mhm.
was gonna say. Everybody starts somewhere, so you have to
Mhm.
have that opportunity. I think once I have this first issue out and everybody has it in their hands, they're gonna be like, okay, this guy is not full of it.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's
Yeah,
it's one of those
100%.
things.
try
Like
it
even
again.
if you failed, the attempt and the like willingness to do it, everyone would have still been behind you no matter what, you know. And then
Yeah.
like you fucking get up and you do it again, and that's how making comics works, because making comics is a bitch. it
Oh yeah,
really,
Yeah,
it
it's
really
expensive
is.
too.
It's expensive. It's
it
hard.
is
It's a
Yeah.
lot of
expensive.
work. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
time. It's kind of
I
like going to
really
the
don't
gym.
expect my
Like
ROI anytime soon. I don't expect my return on investment, which
yeah,
is fine.
it's
I'm not saying it as a complaint or anything, because it's something on my bucket list. Ever since I used to review comics like about a decade ago, I wanted to have something. I wanted to say, I
The
did that.
hmm
the other thing
I
too
did
that I had an author explain to me one time is that your first book, your first published work, whatever it may be, your first issue, you kind of don't really have a timeline for your first
that.
publication. There's just making it, getting it out there, getting people to see it, getting it published, whatever it is. There's no timeline. You take all the time. It's going to take a long time. You take all the time you need. You do what you can to get it out there. The moment you have a timeline is when you're doing the second or third.
yeah.
Once issue one's out, everyone's gonna go, "Where's issue two? Where's issue three?" And that's when you're like, "Oh shit, I'm actually published, and I got to get something out sooner."
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
I expect myself to release for the time being. I'm thinking once one. I'm happy with just one book per year. I don't know if that's too much of a time frame.
I mean, it's a
But at
good
the end of the
realistic
day,
goal. Shit
that's a
happens.
realistic
I need
goal.
to give myself a realistic goal. I can't
Yeah.
push myself in that sense
You
because
can't
I'm
say
not going to abandon my
3 and then
family
be like,
either
"Well,
for it.
fuck." You know what I mean? Like,
But
I only made 2 out of 3, but it's just like, no, like even getting one book a year out is an accomplishment as an indie creator, because you know what?
yeah,
Like we were
dude,
saying before the
and I
show,
see
we have
creators out
lives.
there.
You have a day job, you have a family,
Hmm.
you're fitting this in, you're trying
You
to
have a
do
dog,
everything else. You have a
I
dog,
have a
like
dog,
friends.
it's we
friends,
do
Yeah,
kid,
this
a
as a
wife.
passion project, so
yeah,
it's
man.
getting the work done. That's what as an indie creator and an indie like like supporter in general. I feel like the entire indie community like looks at other creators in the sense of like we were talking about this before the show. We love seeing the result. We love seeing it come out. It doesn't matter how like sometimes the execution or how something's turned out, but the fact that you went and made it and put it out there and it's in your hands, that's what we all want to see and respect and support. Like just seeing the attempt means more than the actual overall product. Like it's a bitchin' ass product for sure, but we love seeing like, oh, this dude's trying to make a comic. Let's help him make that fucking comic, and that way they could
Yeah,
learn
dude.
shit and get better, and then we'll help them make the next comic. So it's that community is so sacred, and that's why we have the show. Prime reason, we love having creators like you come on, talk about this journey, talk about the story, talk about the process and everything that's involved, and where it came from, because we're trying to get your word out there and kind of spread it. If we could even get you 1 or 2 extra backers, that's dope for us.
That's a godsend. I
And
have
plus it gives you
another.
that practice of just like getting up in front of there and talking about your stuff and promoting it, and that's what it comes down to as an indie creator, is that hustle aspect of just getting up and getting your pitch down. So when you go to conventions, when you go on other shows, we hope you're on a bunch of podcasts. We hope that people interview like crazy. We hope you go to a bunch of conventions, and we hope maybe they'll hear about you through us. That's even cooler. Like we're fully supportive of that entire aspect of building that indie comic book creation.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it. I try my best. I noticed for the most part, at the end of the day, a lot of these locations or podcasts, interviewers, et cetera, there are friends in common. So it's just like, okay, they do overlap a little bit, but it's not that much.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying my best with it. I am no way a professional. I think I got the luck of the draw being successful on my first one, so it's a bit of a hype. But I've had people that they've had the product and they had a good product, and I didn't see it come to fruition. I saw it fail on Kickstarter, and there's moments that I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense, and it's just I don't know if my timing was good. I was actually planning on posting the Kickstarter the first time in December, and then I thought twice about it, and I was like, no,
Yeah,
because
holiday
everybody's
time and
busy.
everything. Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
everybody's busy with the holidays. Then I thought January 2nd, which I think was the Monday, and I was like, that's right after New Year's. And then I told myself, no, it's still fresh. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'll do it. I'll do it mid-January. I think that's enough time. That's already a paycheck or two. And I just went with it, and it's worked out. I like I said, I know I keep repeating the same thing, and I don't know if it's almost pun intended at this point, but I've been blessed.
Yeah, dude. It's a
I've been super happy with the result that I had. Don't get me wrong. Do I want more? Oh, of course. Can issue one pay for issue 1, 2, and 3? Oh, that would have been perfect. But
yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
be realistic. Not gonna be that guy that that on his first shot he got 10K. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't have the history. Not many people know who I am. Um, I see those people that have the 2, 3 Kickstarters in a year, and I was just like, dude, I'd be breaking my balls trying to do that. And I was just like, I can't. And I really
A
hope
lot.
that the 1 year mark is good, just because I need to give time to myself. I need to give time to my family. Obviously, there's the
Mm-hmm.
number one priority. But I still need to prepare issue 2 completely. Issue 2, the script is about it's a good amount of it outlined and whatnot. I already know the direction I'm going. I already know what's gonna happen in issue 2. I already know what's gonna happen in issue 3. Like I said, that whole 8-page point thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of just the transitions in between that I'm still adding, still tweaking, things like that. But I really hope that I still have that audience a year from now, which I don't even think
Well,
it's gonna be a year from now, honestly, because
it's one of those things, just
it's
keeping up that network and keeping up that
Mhm.
promotion and, sending out the book and giving updates. That's what it's all about. And if as long as you do that, I think the whole community be really responsive no matter what. And they know the timeline behind some of this. Bigfoot Knows Karate, issue 2 is barely coming out. And they're
Mhm.
barely starting working on issue 3, Dan Price and Casey. And it's like everyone's still hyped for that. Everyone's still just as enthusiastic. So keeping that network and everything going and it looks like it doesn't matter, of like what you're doing right now is like you have so many things outlined, you have so many things planned. I don't think this is gonna be the end of us having you on the show for one. We definitely want to bring you back, as issue 2 fruitions and as other things come out. But
Definitely.
yeah, we definitely want to like see you like grow, and we definitely want to see you like have success in all this. Just like I'm sure you want the same thing for all the other indie creators making
Yeah,
Kickstarters.
man.
Well,
Uh,
there's
It's
6 days left on your Kickstarter right now, as we record this. So this is gonna be coming out over the weekend. So you have just a few days left as you listen to this and check it out. We really encourage our listeners to go hit up this Kickstarter. We backed it. It just looks like a lot of fun, and there's a link at the bottom for you guys. Jorge, do you have anything else to like kind of promote to you want to say that you want to maybe drop your social media links? Where can we find you? Where can everyone check this out?
For the most part, I'm on Instagram and I used to not be on Twitter, but now I am on Twitter. I don't have that much success on Facebook at this very
Oh,
moment,
we don't use
but
Facebook too much. Yeah.
on Instagram, I'm the hashtag the at is the comic unknown, because
Nice.
originally that was the name of the blog that I had for reviews, and I was just like, I'm just gonna keep it.
Mhm.
So it's the comic unknown, and I believe Facebook is just comic unknown, but I think Twitter is also the comic unknown, because both on Instagram and Face and Twitter, somebody took that tag a
Mhm.
long time ago, never posted anything. And I was like, ah, bummer. Whatever, just put the in the front. Yeah, we have 6 days left. We are less than $100 from the first stretch goal, which are going to be the prints of the pinups. We already have a set of stickers that I wanted to add for everybody. Really
Nice.
trying my best for everybody. Excuse me, to get at least a physical copy. Um, get that out there. I want the people with that book in their hands.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to add as much stuff to it so that the price is worthwhile. I know at the end of the day it's a floppy, it's a single issue for the pricing of $12, but it's to pay for it at the end of
That's
the
the way
day.
indie
It's
books
I
well
just
work.
deserved.
pledged right now. I literally just did
Thank
it this very
you.
moment. Yep.
Oh, refresh
Yeah.
77. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying my hardest at this point. I want to make sure that everybody's able to snag a copy, even if it's digital. That's fine. I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah.
It's another pair of eyeballs that
Hmm.
are not gonna be eaten by zombies. Reading about a pair of eyeballs that are gonna be eaten by zombies. Um, and I'm just working it. It's a little bit of a hustle, not in the derogatory way, but it's just in the sense of it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I've
It's
learned that
new to
it's
you too,
definitely a
you
lot of
know?
work. Your mind never turns off with it. And there's moments that you're just in a family event and you sneak a peek and then it's just like, oh, I shouldn't be looking at this right now.
But you got to.
Especially in those
It's your
first
baby.
couple of days.
It's your
But
new
yeah, dude,
baby. You
those are
know
my
what I mean?
socials. I try to do my best to. I've always been vocal about supporting indie comics. Super vocal about it. So obviously, I'm going to say it here. It's not just my book, any book. As if it's remotely, if the quality and the effort is there, shoot, go for it. I'd be expecting to see your stuff. You need to let me know once that occurs for both of you guys.
Yeah. We'll have our
And
anthology book coming out late spring, the punk rock themed
okay,
anthology, and then we're both
that's
working on some
cool.
stuff right now in the background as well. So we'll keeping you posted on that too.
If you ever need a writer, I'm not the best, but I think I have
Def
wacky ass ideas. You can help me look for an artist, and I need to build my portfolio at the end of the day. I could edit on Comic Vine, so I always look at it and I'm like, I really want to have my stuff out there, but they won't let me add something until I have something published. So I don't mind opening up my library when it comes to that, my portfolio. I mean,
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
so you
Yeah,
guys
dude.
let me know. I hope we could continue keeping in touch. If you ever need a random person just to talk smack with.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
dude. I followed you on
Just let me-
Instagram just now as well. So
Yeah, we got
Cool,
you.
thank you. I'll follow you back.
yeah.
And we'll
And it's been a pleasure. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be able to be here. Thank you guys. Thank you, Brandon.
dude,
Thank you, Brandon.
of
Yeah, of course,
course.
man.
And you know, until next time, man, like I'm really excited to bring you back. I'd love to see your progress, and well, you know, we'll always fucking be checking in, and I can't wait to see what you
Yeah,
end up
dude.
as, and I can't wait to see that book. So,
Thank
you know,
you. Very
Jorge,
much appreciated.
dude, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging, guys.
Thank you guys. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.